This episode of the Barry Chronicles is proudly brought to you by Bariatric Support Australia.
Hi everybody, I'm Tash.
And I'm Damo.
And we are so excited to bring you this week's episode of
The Barry Chronicles.
Damo, what's wrong with your computer? It was doing a weird thing.
It was.
Weird thing for a weird bloke.
Very. No, I think we're good.
We're all good?
Well, I think the computer's good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're us, so, you know.
So, yeah.
Who knows? But we are doing a podcast with two of my favourite people. Us.
You and me.
Yeah, we're in a mood today.
Yep,
We're in a good old mood.
we are.
So, Damo, I'm actually really looking forward to this podcast because we are finally talking about something that you and I have been discussing for maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be?
Yeah, it's been a while. Gosh.
So, you take it away. Tell us what we're talking about today.
So, as we've sort of touched on a few times, I've had reflux ever since I had the sleeve 10 years ago. And it's done all sorts of damage to my teeth, and lately it's been going into my lungs at night, and that's really not good. It can have really
Why
bad-
not?
Yeah, I don't know. Something about
Why do we not want bile acid
in your
in our
lungs.
lungs?
So getting to chat with lots of surgeons and all the people that we've been chatting with, you sort of realise how problematic it can be down the track if it goes untreated. I always thought, surgeons will recommend another surgery because they like to cut people open. That's how they make their money.
Chippity chop.
A little bit jaded, I guess, with that. But
Us jaded?
yeah, who would have thought? Need a big jade ring or something, and I can just go jaded. So I've selected a surgeon to go and speak to about having a revision.
Very exciting.
Yes.
I remember when you and I were talking about my surgery 7 years ago, and you actually said to me then, so 7 years ago, Damo was 3 years post-op by that point, and I'd obviously done the band, I'd had it out, and I was shit scared. I was not just a little bit scared, I was terrified of the thought of going under the knife again. And Damo said to me then that his biggest regret then was that he had opted to go for a sleeve and not a bypass.
Yeah.
And I will say that him saying that to me did play on my mind, and it actually probably started me looking at bypass, although bypass is what was going to be recommended for me anyway, because I had a lap band, I had reflux, and because my BMI, don't come at me everybody, because my BMI was so high, it was what was going to be recommended for me at that time. Yeah. So we're talking 7 years ago or 6 years ago when I had my bypass. So yeah, it definitely was something that sort of stuck in my mind, and I thought to myself then, I wonder why he's saying that. I mean, Damo knew that I needed to do something, so he didn't want to frighten me.
Yeah.
Basically, he didn't want me to be frightened. And you know what? I've had gastric bypass for 6 years. I have never stopped taking reflux medication. I'm now on 2 different types. I still have it as a daily thing, and Damo knows that. He is well aware, totally aware of all of the things that I struggle with personally. But it's not just for the reflux.
No.
Is it, Damo?
No, it's not. And just while we're on that, you said how bypass would have been recommended to you anyway. There will always be surgeons that will do whatever the patient asks.
Yeah.
And I think for me, when we're talking about a revision, I think it's really important to find a surgeon that has experience with revisions,
100%.
that has training with bypasses, because
That is an upper GI specialist.
yeah, a funny little thing that I never really understood until more recently is there are some amazing general surgeons that do amazing sleeves, and even can do some skin removal, which I went to. That was my sleeve. I went to a general surgeon and I had fantastic results, except for the reflux, which no one can guess whether that's going to happen or not. But I had the sleeve, and then he did an incredible tummy tuck on me.
Yeah.
But I think when we're looking at going for a revision, we need someone that has specialised in bariatric surgery and has done all their courses in it. I think that's important.
Yeah, I do
That we
too.
have someone that has done it before, that knows the path that we're looking at walking down. So I've met quite a few amazing surgeons, and there are a few that if I was closer to them, then I wouldn't have an issue going to them. But I've decided that I wanted to see a surgeon who's a bit closer to home.
Yeah, which makes sense.
It's a long way to go if you're going interstate, and just for me and where we're at the moment, I need to be closer to home.
We have a lot going on. Like, we've had a lot going on in our lives, and like, as a family, we've had a lot going on. We've hinted at a few different things that have been going on, but most recently, our mum has been quite unwell, and her treatment requires that we be close. Well, that she be close to home, and while she's having treatment, we will be close to home as well.
Yeah.
So
and these are all the things that we have to take into consideration when we're doing this.
We all have lives, like, don't we?
Yeah.
We all have to do things that sit well within what we're experiencing at that particular given time and how we need to do life.
Yeah.
So
we actually have surgeons that we've spoken to in every state in Australia, and all of them I would be happy going to.
They're all wonderful people.
They're amazing people, and yeah, but just for where we're at the moment, this is what's going to be best for me. So I've got an appointment next week, actually. So by the time this releases, my appointment will be tomorrow, and I'm going to see Dr. Alex Craven in Melbourne. He also is involved in the public bariatric
program at the Austin.
Yep, and very amazing, caring person, and he has a private practice away from the Austin. So I'm going to see him privately, and we're going to work through a lot of this, because this has been a long process, and I'm also doing it for the type 2 diabetes, which came back, which you can hear all about in our previous podcasts.
Yeah. We'll link those episodes so that you can have a listen if you haven't already heard them. But Damo's had such a long and involved story over the last 10 years, like incredible weight loss, has maintained an incredible 80, 90 kilo weight loss for 10 years. But I think all along, really, you kind of thought maybe I would have been better off having a bypass.
Yeah.
And, we do what we believe is best at the time.
Yeah.
We make the best decision that we can at the time with the information that we have. And sometimes there's just no way to predict. There's just no way to know. And
you make the best choice you can with the information you have, but also the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
You know, we were when I had my sleeve, I was on Centrelink. You know, Kim was crocheting blankets and stuff to raise the money for me to be able to have surgery.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just a price that we could afford. Barely, but we did it. And, you know,
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like awesome, amazing, changed your life.
Yeah.
So I think like that should be the message as well. Do what is best for you.
Yeah. And I think the thing for me, I'm not doing it because of my weight. I'm not doing it because I'm unhappy where my weight is. That for me,
If you lost nothing, would you be disappointed?
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I would be more than happy to not have to have a revision surgery.
Yep.
Except for the fact that the diabetes, while it's better controlled now, I want it to be a bit easier, where I'm not having to rely on, you know, insulins and all that sort of stuff. And I'm hoping that will help control it better just with, you know, a metformin or a couple of metformin.
So Damo, why don't you just go down the path of the GLP-1s?
It's a good question.
Like, what is today?
Yeah.
Today is apparently
The release of Wegovy.
Wegovy is apparently now in pharmacies.
I guess for me,
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I don't.
But like that's what we're told.
I hope it's correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the information that we've been getting is that it releases like today. So, and I am excited about that. I think
the people
for
that it
me,
can help, yeah.
though, I want to see a bit more evidence behind it of, you know, how are people that are running out to get it and have been on the massive amounts of Ozempic or whatever to lose the weight. I think it's fantastic if they've been able to, but for me, I guess I've seen so many things come and go, and so many procedures even that get recommended, and then a couple of years later they go, oh well, it's actually not as good as, and you know.
I'm thinking about a thing that we both took. I won't name the name, but we both took this thing back in the day, and we both literally shat our souls out of our bodies with this thing. Like,
I'll never forget, we'd started it and we went to a birthday party at Mooloolaba at an amazing steak and seafood restaurant at Mooloolaba. And I'd taken this tablet and it was literally designed, if you ate anything fatty, whatever, it was going to come out of you in the most expedient
manner possible
way it could. And I'd done really well. I'd lost about 15 kilos on it. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to have my surf and turf tonight. And I had that surf and turf, and it was delicious. Driving home in the car, I heard my stomach, and it did that. And I there, oh my God, I know what's coming. So managed to get home. And I'm running to the toilet, up the stairs.
Have you ever done that run that you do where you're clenching your ass
butt cheek
so hard,
and you're sort of pushing out at the front?
Yeah, and then you can't find the keys or your hands like.
I know, and I get to the door and it wasn't unlocked, and I didn't have a house key.
Oh no!
And I was. By this time I was in a panic, you know, it was a constant gurgle. It was going to come out in all its glory. I walked around the house and there was a window open. Now, I was 150 kilos.
Oh my gosh. No.
You know, and I wasn't Santa. I didn't have the magic to get in. So I might have looked like Santa, but I wasn't. Managed to get the window open.
Brown-haired Santa.
Yeah, brown-haired Santa coming through your window with a surprise.
Bad.
This is the shittiest surprise I've ever given. And there I am, dragging my 150 kilo frame through a window frame.
Oh my God, I can only imagine the
And I got stuck. Stuck with my ass in the air. I'm like, I am about to be a fountain. I'm going to be a garden feature fountain.
No. Oh no.
Squirting forth
how did
an
you,
abundance.
Did you get in?
I managed to slide the rest of the way in, but there was a bed near the window, so I ended up down in between the bed and the wall, and eventually I managed to get in and had to have a shower. And I am glad that I never have to take one of those awful tablets again.
Yes.
But it shows the desperation that we go to
100%.
to get our health under control.
100%. If you're a health practitioner and you're listening to this, please understand that that is the level of desperation that we can sometimes feel when we are in a bigger body and we just desperately want something to work. We just desperately want something to change to the point where we are willing to put ourselves through all kinds of things in the hope that something will help.
And I think this is where I am cautious with any new thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's easy to market it to people living with overweight and obesity. Because generally in the past we would do anything that we thought would help shift the weight.
And you know what? This is actually why I love and support being comfortable in our own skin and learning to love ourselves, irrespective of what the number is on the scales, because hopefully it causes us, if we can foster that sense of self-love and acceptance, hopefully it causes us to make choices that are based in sound medical advice and that are good for us holistically, not just in a desperate grab to try to be acceptable.
Yeah.
Or whatever, thing we feel like we need to try to be. Yeah. I took the same medication. I didn't have my ass hanging out of a window, but I still had to have a shower.
Yeah,
So,
and that
It
when
never
it
leaves you.
happens when it happens in front of people,
Yep.
it is more humiliating than anything, because it brings out that stigma that you're already, fat and lazy, and now look, they're shitting themselves as well. Does this person have no self-control over their body?
Yeah.
And
we aren't saying that the GLP-1s do this. Like, we're not saying
not
that.
at all.
We're talking about an old school medication that we took back in the day.
Yep.
But I agree, we need to approach these things cautiously.
Yeah. I know that, like, the R&Y bypass has been done for many years now. I know what I could expect, both good and bad.
Funnily enough, we actually have 3 people in the family that have already had it.
Yeah. Yep.
And one had like the most catastrophic complications post-op that you can have. I've certainly had my fair share of the long-term complications. And the other person, cruising.
Yep.
Just cruising.
Yep.
And I love it. Like, I love that for them. So
it's certainly not something that I've taken lightly, because I've seen
you've seen all of it.
the whole spectrum of it. But I still think that I need to explore it. And I think that's when you know you are ready to have it, when you can sit there and objectively look at all the possibilities.
Yeah.
And you still go, you know what, I think this is still a good option for me.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, Damo. I think I'm just sort of sitting here reflecting on my own complications and the surgery that's been recommended for me, and I'm not there. Like, I'm not there yet. I'm just not. But I know that you've taken years to process this.
Yeah.
You know, it's been years of living with the reflux. It's been years of the type 2 potentially making a resurgence, and now it has. So, yeah, it's just time.
Yeah, and it wasn't even something that I particularly discussed with anyone when I actually made the appointment. I think the first Kim knew about it was when I was asking my GP for the referral. And Kim sort of looked, and, you know, the next thing anyone knew, I'd made an appointment, and it was, we're sort of walking that out. I mean, I don't know when I'm sort of thinking of actually having the surgery. You know, that's something that I will discuss with the surgeon, what's going to be best, and you know, all that, because there's a lot to still consider, even though, you know, I'm around this sort of stuff every day. It's different when it's for you.
Yeah, 100% it's different.
So, you know, we'll take our time with that.
What is your main hope? The main thing that you are hoping to get out of it?
I would love to see the diabetes go back into remission.
Yep, that would be amazing.
And then, and I guess equal with that is to deal with the reflux.
Yep.
Because that, as you know, is horrible.
Yeah,
it's just a horrible way to live.
With your, so to get to this point, just so everybody knows and understands the extent of the medical team that you have around you, you have a great GP.
Yep.
Endocrinologist.
Yep.
Pain specialist.
Yep.
Physiotherapist. Anyone else I'm missing?
I will have a dietitian.
Yep.
Weight loss surgeon.
Yep. Psychologist if recommended. Well, Damo is, you know, you've seen psychologist, psychiatrist on and off for many years, hey?
Yep. Whenever I feel like I need that. Yeah, so I've got quite a big team around me, and they will all have some input.
And have already had.
Yeah. You know, I'm not the sort of person that hides procedures from one doctor or specialist to the next. I think they all need to know so that they can all make the best decisions and recommend the best treatments that I can get.
Yep.
I just think that's really important.
And, you know, it can just be very, very helpful, I think, as well, just to have that whole multidisciplinary team around you.
Yeah.
So that everybody's on the same page, they're all talking to each other. If anything pops up, then it's more easily dealt with.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Definitely.
So
because at least if everyone knows what's going on, then if you are having some sort of complication, you know, whether it's a pain flare-up or whatever, then they know who to, like, that specialist will know who to speak to.
Does that concern you? It's probably, I mean, I know we've very briefly touched on it, like just in our personal conversations, but does that concern you, having a pain flare-up after surgery?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
probably been my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful now that I've got a GP who is happy to prescribe the pain medications that I need, and was even happy to revise and take a look at some other things that
Yeah,
we've
like
been talking about.
work with your
Yeah,
pain specialist.
and work
hey?
with the pain specialist so that I get the best outcome that I can get.
Yeah.
You know, that is fantastic. I'll probably ask my pain specialist to speak to the bariatric surgeon
Yep.
to discuss pain medications after surgery.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be doing something that
don't wanna
is
take-
going to send me down a path that I don't want to go down.
Yeah.
I find that with a medication like endone, I'm better to stay away from that.
Yeah.
Because I just am.
Yep.
So, there's some of the things that I just will not bend on.
Yep.
And I'll get my pain specialist to discuss that with Alex as well, and so that we've got a plan for before I go in there. I don't want it all happening there and then and going, oh, you're going to have to wait hours till we work this out.
In saying that though, when I woke up from I would love to know what those of us that have had bypass found after surgery. I've heard over the years, like particularly, in our Bariatric Support Australia community on Facebook, I've heard so many different accounts of how people are when they wake up from the surgery. For me personally, I was actually in quite a lot of pain, but I suspect that it was probably somewhat to do with how I went to sleep, and I think I was just quite upset. So I woke up quite upset, but I also was in quite a bit of pain, which they got under control very quickly, and was then, I had quite a bit of nausea for the first couple of days, but that is just a me thing after anaesthetic. It's certainly not true for everybody. I just wonder if you'll, just wake up and be totally fine.
Yeah. See, and I think I have any procedures that I've had more recently, I have woken up fine, because I understand now that, if we're really worked up going into it, then for me as well, I wake up really badly coming out of anaesthetic.
Yep.
So I try and keep myself as calm as possible, and practice some mindfulness and some meditation, and just keeping myself a bit centered, accepting that, I may wake up a little bit nauseous or in pain, but, that can be treated.
Yeah, that can be helped.
I remember waking up from my, when I had the rods put in my back, and I was in a terrible place, and, they ended up sedating me again, and, had to go through that whole process of coming out of it again. And, it's because I really didn't know what to expect after it. And, when I woke up in pain, I'm like, oh my God, I had this to try and stop the pain, and now it's worse than ever. I just wasn't expecting it. So I think it's really good if you can know what to expect coming out of it. Yeah, it's just what works for me. So
yep, I think that's great. I'm excited for you, Damo.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm expecting that it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to hearing if you do want to share at some point about how the appointment goes.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you've got something out of this. I know I did.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yep. Have a great week, guys.
Stay safe out there.